This NA player, however, no one can dispute her incredible macro to back up her incredible micro. It is Scarlett.
In the bottom left side of Blackburn, we are looking at the main base of our Canadian Terran player, down 0-1 in this best of 3, but still 2-2 in this group. It is Semper. Scarlett has dropped the roach one, so we are going to see some roaches in this best of 3. There are the 2 evolution chambers as well. Scarlett, her economy is already closing in on 60 drones. It really is quite sweet this early on. Semper is going to try to find some damage as soon as the first 2 medevacs are out. But I think at that point, he's going to be greeted by a lot of queens and roaches. But I am afraid that this is going to be one of these moments where Scarlett is going to have legitimately 110 or 120 army supply, and Semper is going to be hovering around 60. Now, then the tank shots are going to have to be proper juicy in the heart of big clumps of roaches, otherwise you just get overwhelmed. If you look at the production now, Scarlett's already at 90 army supply, and there are way more roaches on the way.
Yeah, she has stopped drone production for the time being at 66. So we'll see if Semper stands a little bit of a chance here to stabilize if he holds off. Semper supply blocked.
No, Scarlett actually at 170, 174 overlords on the way. So Scarlett is going to be floating a little bit of money, but she can obviously morph more roaches into ravages. And this is just kind of it. At this point, it's 104 supply against 56. Scarlett is going to fire up her 2-2 upgrades and take out all the destructible debris. And drop a a Hydra den and an infestation pit at the same time, and drones behind this. But we're still going to try to find some success with all these roaches and ravages with their 1-1 upgrades.
I love the Hellbat morph there. A very heads-up play from Semper. It's going to be a little consequence, but it's enough that it's worth doing. The Hellbats are going to provide a little bit more chunkiness than the Hellions, and he's just looking to provide a little bit of a front line for these tanks in the back. And the angle for Scarlett, I mean, it's not as ideal as if Semper was set up on that triangle. So I'm a little bit surprised that she ends up going for this attack. Of course, she's super strong to the max out, but still a little bit shy just positioning wise to go in here. Okay, but Semper now nearing 200 supply. The problem, like you were alluding to earlier, is that Scarlett is going to be going for lurkers and the likes. Now Semper trying to kill the drone desperately. But Scarlett again showing off. She doesn't want to bring a new drone here. That's too much of a waste of time.
I like how Scarlett has 201 supply at this point. We haven't seen that in a while. This used to really be meta in Wings of Liberty. I remember when Dimaga once upon a time got up to like 234 supply, and everyone was like, oh my god! And then he still lost against the maxed out Protoss because there were no Vipers in that game. And Corruptor still had energy, so they all got feedback, but it was cool. Exactly. It's so hard to just run into lurkers, and tanks are also not an army that you can just bomb rush into a Zerg base on creep. Semper is going to throw down a scan. Like, if you have a bunch of ghosts, then obviously say, yes, it does open an opportunity. You can throw down some snipes, maybe land a couple of EMPs on the Vipers, but none of that happened. We are going to see the first abduct, and I'm afraid that it's going to be the first of many. These Vipers will just go completely uncontested.
Yeah, Semper, I mean, he might feel like he has a timing right now because so much of that energy was spent, so it might be now or never. It seems like he's going to choose never, as he's going to run with his tail between his legs while he gets ghosts, though. So now that's going to be his new timing. He's going to look for big EMPs onto those Vipers, and then maybe.
The Vipers have both their Hive upgrades. We're going to get a few more abducts. 2 of the 3 Vipers that were in the front do get picked off, though, so that's kind of nice for Semper. That's going to give him some time. Scarlett will immediately rebuild those Vipers. The lurker count at this point is at 6. That's not crazy high yet, but I think Scarlett is just waiting for an opportunity to get rid of some more roaches, maybe even some ravages. And then we can just have an even better time with more lurkers and maybe some broodlords down the line.
Broodlords would be great, as that Greater Spire is starting to be produced as well. They will be very good with tanks, or with tanks in these high numbers. At the same time, Scarlett has been kind of resetting the tank count herself, right? Like, not a very high... Oh, actually, it's at 14. So Semper maybe has a chance here to make something happen before Broodlords if he is able to hit some of these EMPs or snipes onto the Vipers. The Ghosts undetected actually will go straight up for snipes. Beautiful moves.
Yep, that's really cool. A little bit sloppy by Scarlett to have her overseer that far out of attention and or out of position, and obviously have no support crawling nearby. That was nice for Semper, but I still think that doesn't mean you can just go through these slow zones. Scarlett has 7,000 minerals, 2.5k gas, and she's got 16 drones in production. Can you explain this to me, Guts?
I cannot. Yeah, I don't think she needs a lot of drones right now, but maybe she feels like this game is gonna extend. The lurkers are now falling without not much of the Zerg buffer there that was actually trying to deny this base from going up on the side of Semper. And I do like that Semper is taking this base because he's kind of making the map a little bit smaller for Scarlett. He will be able to be on the aggressive while defending at the same time. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle of paying attention as well, and where you allocate that attention. Are you going to be looking out for those abducts? Are you going to be able to get the MPs, snipes to punish?
Yeah, it almost did feel that the moment you do manage to pick off 3 out of 4 Vipers and there is not that much energy anymore, maybe that was the moment for Semper to be a bit more adventurous. Because you know, if time goes by, then no matter how cool that move was, you're going to have to go up against more Vipers, and they simply are the scariest unit to face. We do see another abduct on one of these tanks. Scarlett has a lot of sport crawlers too at this point, 18. So I don't think lack of detection is going to be a problem anymore.
Yeah, for sure not. Good EMP, they're finally onto those Vipers. So right now there's a timing where none of the Vipers actually have energy. This could be the opportunity for Semper to creep back or creep forward and take back a little bit more of his very well-deserved space. That's exactly what he's going to do with these tanks. But it's a very narrow window. Now the Viper's back with energy, at least a couple of them. That abduct may be unnecessary as the lurker had it.
Oh no. We're gonna steam forward here. Nice blinding cloud by Scarlett. That's absolutely perfect. It's gonna keep her lurkers alive, and it's gonna force Semper to just retreat once more. At the same time, Scarlett is having some fun with a couple of roaches with tunnel and claws on the top left side. And I was just looking at the unit's lost resource tab, and Semper has actually lost 4,000 resources more. That is incredibly rare in this matchup in a 17-minute game. It really just goes to show how good Scarlett is with this composition. There are still 19 sport crawlers on the map, 2 spines. A couple of queens do get obliterated in the center. Scarlett, her supply actually plummeting now as a few lurkers and queens went down, I guess. I mean, Semper now has a army supply advantage. I feel like Scarlett is just kind of wondering, what units do I want to make? And she decides that it's time for 12 Broodlords.
Yeah, and that's a scary, scary army. I mean, maybe if Semper can find some amazing... I don't even know. I mean, there's very little Vikings to speak of. The ghosts, they don't really have a strong anchor here at the front. There's not that many of them. It's definitely going to be difficult. Semper does find a base, though, at the north. That's nice for him. And he has situated a lot of his army to protect potentially his upward expanding. The problem is that might leave him open in the south. Scarlett not yet exploiting that, though.
Where are the Broodlords? They are just kind of chilling at Scarlett, her gold base. He's just not using them. You don't see that very often. A Zerg play with 12 Broodlords. Scarlett is going to try to get some value out of her lurkers as he abducts a few tanks. I mean, Scarlett is not using her entire army. I feel that if Semper can ever get up to, let's say, 15 ghosts maxed out on energy, then I actually believe. I just think 5 or 6 ghosts, that's never going to cut it. But there are a few more on the way, and there is a bit of free supply. If you can get up to 15 ghosts, I think Semper is good in late game. Then, cats, I'll start maybe believing a tiny, tiny bit. I won't get carried away, no sweet baby dreams, but that ghost count just needs to increase by quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an uphill battle for Semper. There's no doubt about that. He does have a very complex army to work with. He has been trading worse than Scarlett. He has mined a little bit less than her probably as well. It's not the ideal game, and he is the underdog. He is the worst player, right? Like, so, yeah, I think it'd be foolish to think that that Scarlett is very likely to lose here. But yeah, I think Semper still has some chances.
Do we believe in a nuke?
That would be nice. I mean, it's going to be used here at the south. Solar probably has some nightmares about those.
Solar is like, why did I just wake up at 7 a.m.? Because someone is getting nuked. Don't worry, it's not romanticized. You're safe, mate.
Those lurkers very low, so they will get picked off by Marines of all things. Semper making some progress on this side of the map for the time being, but here comes the very, very scary army of Scarlett. Not much energy remaining on those ghosts. Only one of them has snipes available, I think, so Semper will think better of this. Pull back for the time being.
What do you think is worse when you hear the nuke sound go off? Just the fact that, okay, a nuke, I could potentially lose a bunch of workers, or the fear of being nuked on stream and losing your entire army?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess it would vary from player to player. I don't know what I would be more scared of. It's both terrifying thoughts for sure.
Yeah. Most of the time when I am in a long game and I do hear nukes go off, I'm actually way more worried about my army getting nuked than any of my base to be like, all right, I can lose 20 probes, but you're not going to nuke my carriers.
Will not be made a meme.
One ghost does go down to a bit of friendly fire there from the tanks. Oh, that is a cool nuke. Scarlett is probably seeing that though, because it's not very well hidden red dot. And goes down. I mean, Semper is getting a pretty terrifying army now, man. He's got 11 ghosts, 19 Vikings. I do really like that Scarlett decided to get a couple of infestors too, because there is no better wombo combo versus Vikings than Parasitic Bomb and Fungal.
Yeah, and we effectively, for the time being, have a split map. These infestors could be nasty here should they choose to fungal growth onto those SCVs. They won't. They'll let the Broodlords do their dirty work. So not as many SCVs as could have fallen fall. But at the same time, I mean, I'm sure neither player minds trading workers at this point. Things are getting to the last few mining bases.
Pretty sick little attack here by Semper. Gets 16 drones. It's going to be 20 in total and the base. Scarlett can't be too happy with that. So it does feel that Scarlett has now really had enough of all of it and wants to force a fight. Semper, all he really needs is one nuke or a couple of great EMPs, and then the dream is super alive.
Yeah, we just witnessed one of my favorite nukes ever. I mean, it seems mostly inconsequential, but it's so difficult for Scarlett to actually look at that nuke, I think, because it's such an unimportant place. There's just one lurker and one spore, and yet it's a plus EV nuke, right? Like double or something. So.
Yep. And it's just stressful. Hearing the nuke sounds go off is stressful. This Orbitor is running very low on HP though, and it does get picked up by the Corruptus. Scarlett has a pretty terrifying Zerg army, 11 Broodlords, 5 Infestors, and 4 Vipers. It really will be a battle of spellcasting as we have 156 army supply on the side of Scarlett. Did Scarlett lose her Great Inspire? Yes, he did. Okay. So she's remaking a Great Inspire now.
Yeah, very interesting. Man, I can't wait to copy that nuke. I mean, like, how do you even spot it? There's no way Scarlett ever looks at that spot, right? Like,
I don't even know which nuke you're talking about, so you're right.
Yeah, there was a nuke on one lurker and one spore. Like, that's it. So, like, there was chance for something to run past it and also get hit, but I can't think of any way that Scarlett would spot it.
Semper getting now 4 more Liberators, 2 more Vikings, 4 more gold. I do really like what Semper is doing here. I think it's going to be so hard to actually win the game, just because I do think that these Terran armies are so difficult to control. I mean, it feels that your name has to be Maru to handle all of this perfectly and get max value out of your army, but there absolutely is a chance, because Terran armies don't get much better than the one that Semper is currently working towards.
Yeah, for sure. So he's still looking to secure this area of the map. I hope all of the mules have been going on that south side base, because, and I gotta say, I mean, if you're Scarlett, I feel like you've had a lot of room, a lot of opportunities to move there and take that down, but now every minute that passes by, it's gonna be worse and worse for you to actually commit to the south side. So I think Semper can more and more confidently just keep his entire army here at the north and look to secure these 2 bases, and yeah, if he can hold on for long enough to mine them, he still has a shot.
You know what's somewhat interesting to look at is that Scarlett actually only has 19 larvae. I know that may not seem that relevant now, but imagine if Semper does get a dream fight. Scarlett's gonna have a hard time remaxing, man, because you can't build 156 supply of 19 larvae.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, a nuke center mass here would end the game effectively, I think.
Yep.
Let's see it, Semper.
What's the Viking count at this point? 23 Vikings. It's once more going to be so hard. There we do have a nuke going down. I don't know if Scarlett sees it. He does drop a Parasitic Bomb and decides to disengage. Good job there by Semper, splitting off the Viking immediately, not dealing any damage.
Yeah, so this nuke will be mostly inconsequential. Of course, nukes cost 100, so over time, you can't just drop those defensively over and over, especially if you're already trading ineffectively, and that's the win condition that you're aiming to get. So still a good nuke for Semper. He needed some way to disengage. It was an annoying cliff to hold, but The straights are not getting any better. And this is a little bit of a problem for him. I don't know. I don't know if he has many options left here.
I'm sure that some viewers might be wondering, Cats, why would Semper not go into battle cruisers? What is your answer to that question?
Why not battle cruisers? I think that they're really expensive. There's no upgrades for them. There's Neural Parasite potentially. There's already a fleet of Corruptors. I mean, there's Spores and Vipers for Abducts as well. I think if he was super mega rich and had the starports to do just a crazy switch, it could maybe catch Scarlett off guard, and there's the universe, but not this one.
And that was close, actually, when I saw those units come in range again, because I was just looking at it from Semper's point of view. I was like, is it? No. Nice abduct by Scarlett, so we don't get the dream nuke quite yet. Currently, 40,000 resources have gone down on the side of Semper against 27,000 on the side of Scarlett, who seems to be looking for a couple fungals.
Good snipes there. Yeah, she looks for one and finds one from the high ground, but unfortunately for her, the Broodgrubs are already on the retreat, so they won't be catching too much. What I would like for Semper to do is kind of like, he has so many ghosts that if he can show like half of them on one side and make Scarlett look away and then kind of come with the other half and snipe from behind, because when you see the ghosts, if you're the Zerg, you're gonna tend to lean with your detection towards them. So I think that would be the kind of desperate opening that he needs to find.
I love it when we potentially end the day on a 32-minute game on Blackburn. Isn't that just perfect, Cats?
Yeah, it is the dream. I mean, it's been a very fun game. Not a game that we haven't seen before, but a lot of Liberators here. I'm not sure if this is the way. I mean, Liberator Ghost can be a strong stronghold, and Semper with a huge EMPs onto the Infestors. This might open up a possibility for the Ghost to actually do something, but Scarlett is well aware of it, and so she'll just back away with all of her army. This Spores need canceling, or else, I mean, this will be the first decentish trade that Semper gets in a little while.
Yeah. Nice EMPs on the Infestors, though.
No.
Actually, takes too long for the nuke to land, so Scarlett is going to be able to save these Spore Crawlers. There is a Spore Crawler that gets picked up on the top side of our screen. I mean, the base in the top left is obviously one that's very meaningful, because those are the only resources that really haven't been touched yet throughout the entirety of the game.
Yeah, these liberation zones are wonderful if you can capitalize with the ghosts. Gotta be paying attention, Semper. Instead, it's Scarlett with an extra couple of pickups here, and this is where the war becomes a lot about the attention, about which player is paying attention first, and obviously Semper has to react. It's the more difficult role as well. Scarlett can poke in, and if it's being paid attention to, then Semper can reply and maybe Taxer killing a couple of Vipers when they come for abducts and such. But if he's not, then he'll just lose units for free.
Scarlett has killed 129 SCVs in this game.
That is absurd. Another nuke will mostly whiff, takes down a gas that's gonna cost a drone and a half. Yeah, should he win the perfect fight? I mean, he can't even max out right now, but his chances are really not going that great.
Sorry, top side of the screen. Scarlett forgot about her Infestors, so Semper just ran 2 girls forward, landed an EMP in the heart of all the Infestors, so Scarlett has no energy on those bad boys now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you capitalize if you're Semper though, because you don't really have the type of army that can push out on the map. You mostly just have ghosts, Vipers. You don't want to be running into Spores with those. Liberators, kind of the same thing. They're siege, defend this base type unit, and that's a problem because Semper has made it his win condition to trade effectively, and Scarlett is never gonna let him. So even if he takes the perfect fight that we were talking about earlier, what is he to do with it? Like, just cross the map with 20 ghosts and hope Scarlett doesn't...
Yeah, hold down the Marine button and just keep on building Marine girls and just kill every single base. That's the best thing you can do. Because obviously if you give Scarlett time, then you're going to have to face this problem all over again. And then it will always favor Scarlett, even though Scarlett doesn't have like a tremendous amount of gas. Like 4k gas is a lot, but the current army of Scarlett costs 8,000 gas. So if Scarlett would lose a fight, she's actually in very serious trouble.
Yeah, I just don't see it. What are you gonna make 40 Marines? I mean, the bank's just not there. He can't even max out. So it's yeah, even if he lands the perfect nuke, I don't know how he could ever just cross the map at this point. Scarlett, even this army, I think, would be very threatening to the ghosts. And again, the Vikings and Liberators, they just don't add much.
How many Zerglings could Scarlett theoretically make of 21,000 minerals?
All of them.
Yeah, all right, that's the correct answer. All of Dylan's.
Larva though would be originally like you were saying. So the real answer is 30 right now. Oh no, that's not even 30, is it? That's 60. 15. Oh no, that's 30.
Now the nuke does potentially go down. Scarlett is just playing this incredibly patient. So he hasn't even been that active with her spellcasters. A couple of abducts here and there, but Scarlett is completely fine with just picking up a base, picking up a couple of leftover depots and some production facilities. Semper is still going to try to mine a little bit of this gold. I wonder how many... Oh, the ghosts are all going to cloak. They're going to get a couple of snipes off. Funny, we have just somehow tangoed around, and now Semper is at the top and Scarlett is in the center.
Yeah, it's very cool. And Semper, I mean, he's still looking for opportunities to get those snipes when the Overseers are not exactly at the front of the army relative to the ghosts. But it's just not been enough at all. Now the starports will have to get lifted up or die. They will get lifted up, but now real estate is also of the essence here. Semper can't really spread himself too thin. These Banelings could connect center mass here. Marines are being made, but I mean, those are going to be very easily dealt with at this stage in the game without medevac support. It's not looking bueno.
I just saw a snipe go off on a Baneling. This is not something I see very often.
Yeah, I guess if you're Semper, it's very difficult still to tell, right? Like just how inefficient you have been relative to Scarlett. I think Scarlett has now begun to realize, like, I'm definitely safe. I definitely have traded well enough throughout the entire game that I don't need to attack into you anymore. Like, so we see her taking these more defensive positions, not even trying to really contest that mineral line. And she's kind of saying like, okay, it's up to you now for the time being. So let's see if Semper will bite. Now Scarlett going again for this gold.
We're going to lose a few more SCVs. Been a bad day to be an SCV here for Semper. 156 have gone down in total, and Semper is still looking to land that potentially game-ending nuke, even though we both kind of wonder if it's actually going to be game-ending or not. Scarlett is now going to try to take control of the main base of Semper. That means Semper is going to be supply blocked severely. Not like he has any money in the bank, but it's going to make rebuilding anything even more difficult. So it really just kind of comes down to the army that he currently has. Semper's got 0 medevacs, by the way. That's a little bit problematic for these ghosts.
Yeah, even just one over time would have definitely paid for itself in terms of HP regenerated. And yeah, I mean, he won't have production at all really soon here. All of these barracks now under siege. The starports in the middle of the map. We're heading towards the main. They just turned around. Now they're heading north. Those starports know better.
Yeah, that main is beyond saving. Semper is going to try one more time to land a couple snipes. One Drudler does go down. Do we ever get a parasitic bomb? Still no parasitic bombs have gone off. It feels that it would be such money for Scarlett to just land one. And Nuke does go down on the right side. Actually did a couple Zerglings and Goblins, I guess.
In the production tab, Scarlett, 1 queen. That's all she wants and all she needs.
2 EMPs once more connect with the infestors. Only a single infestor left with energy. Yeah. I mean, okay, Semper had enough of it. He's gonna go for it. He's gonna move forward. Liberator's gonna siege up. Another EMP does land. But here are these parasitic bombs that we've been waiting for. And that Viking count is going to drop real quick.
Yeah, and if you're Semper, you know it. You're fighting over spores at this point in time. Against an unstoppable force, you would have to clear this army more than once. And Scarlett will take